nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.
There we go. This is why I love Suzanne. I was on mute the whole time. She's laughing. Welcome, everyone, to Somewhere in the Live Stream, Redux episode 5. As you can tell, I'm a little disorganized today because it's Father's Day. And I have been just going nonstop helping my dad with whatever, yard work, making him breakfast. We're having a cookout for dinner, so I'm making all the food for that just so the damn guy can relax. He's nonstop. He's actually supposed to be joining us a little bit later in the live stream. I know you guys have been wanting him to come on, so he will hopefully be making an appearance tonight. But of course, being the man he is, he's out working right now on Father's Day. The man never ceases to amaze me. But we have plenty to talk about before he gets here as well. But if you have any questions for Doug Sprague, Papa Sprague, as a lot of you like to call him in the chat, please put them in the super chat, and I will try my best to get to those if and when he shows up later on in the show. Hopefully the Men in Black didn't get to him. But yeah, put your questions in capital letters with a Q if you do not use the super chat, and Suzanne or I will try to star those, and we will ask Doug Sprague anything later on, hopefully. But a lot to talk about before we do that. Let's see, super chat and super stickers are open if you guys would like to help out the show. Those are very quick and easy ways to do that. You just click that $ button below the live chat, and yeah, we will automatically star those and feature those up here on the live stream. If you're new here, welcome. This is a live stream that we do as part of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we break down all the latest UFO news, headlines, weird stories from around the world, and everything in between. If you don't know who I am Ryan Sprague. I am the host of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast, all about UFOs, and those new episodes release every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts. I have it's a little weird. Usually I have my camera attached to the computer, but because we might have a guest later, I've decided to make things a little different. So apologies if I'm not looking right at you a lot of the times tonight, guys. But I do want to say hello to all of our regulars in the chat, to James Craig. It looks like we have Ruth Bradford Harris here as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The biologist is here, one of our Patreon subscribers. So welcome to the biologist. I believe I will be seeing the biologist at Monster Fest too. Correct me if I'm wrong, the biologist, but I look forward to meeting you and anyone else who can make it to Monster Fest 2, happening June 28th and 29th in Canton, Ohio. We'll have a promo for it during the commercial break tonight as well for you to learn more about that. But I would love to meet you guys, so I hope you can make it out to Ohio for Monster Fest 2, produced by Small Town Monsters. Who else do we have here? We have Gondolf is here. Hello, 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 hello to Jim. Hello to James Craig is here. Duncan is here. B is here. Who else? Michael Huntington. Hello, you APers. Pronounced Whoppers. I love that. It's just making me hungry for Burger King now. Robert Chappie is here. Hello, Ryan and Suzanne. So nice to have you back again. How have you all been? Good, man. Robert, it's so good to hear from you, brother. We're back every Sunday for the time being doing these live streams, and I couldn't be happier to be doing it. A special hello to Suzanne, our moderator, as always, as well. She was the one to tell me that I was on mute at the beginning of the show. Rookie mistakes. I've done it so many times too. So a big hello to Suzanne and all of her family as well. William is here. Jamie Tree Talker is here. Pat Gallagher. William is here. Jeffrey is here. Hello, hello, hello. Charles is here. And boom, James Craig, thank you so much, man, for the $20 super chat. Good to see you back in the live stream. Groove, Ryan, I missed you. I missed you too, man. I missed you guys so much. This is so much fun. And it keeps me up to date with everything going on in the UFO world because, as you guys may or may not know, I actually started another podcast all about wrestling. Um, so that's taken up a lot of my time. I'm writing articles right now. I'm writing a play right now about UFOs. So stay tuned for more news on that. I already have a development agreement with a theater company for that play, so it is in motion. I think you guys are gonna dig it. It's not what you think it is. I'll just put it that way. But welcome to the world of UFOs. But more news on that in the future. A big thank you again to James Craig. Really, really do appreciate that. But yeah, so these live streams are how I get my UFO news too. So if any of these stories are a little old, I do apologize. A lot of you guys are probably much more up to date with things going on in the UFO world than I have been. But that's why we do this, to discuss this stuff. You guys always have an awesome chat going on by yourselves in the chat. So I love that too. So yeah, please feel free to talk amongst yourselves as we delve into some of the latest UFO news. But let me make sure that's all I have for talking shop before we get to the news. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. As you guys know, my father is just he is one of my biggest heroes. He's always been there for me, always in my corner, always asking me about UFOs and stuff. He was there when I had my UFO sighting. So hopefully, if he does show up a little later on, we'll get to hear kind of his perspective about it. I know he doesn't remember much. Missing time, Bud Hopkins. Maybe, I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see if he does remember any of it. But the dude has just been in my corner from day one. He was there when I decided to kind of quit playing baseball and go into the theater department at my college. So that was a big transition for me and for him, I'm sure, as a father who wanted his son to be a professional baseball player. And then I was like, nope, nope, I want to get into theater. So that was probably fun for him. But again, the minute he came and saw me in that first play, he's just been supporting me ever since. And then there's UFOs. He and my beautiful, beautiful late mother, Sue Sprag, have just supported me every step of the way. When I said I wanted to start a UFO podcast, they were a little worried because I was, quitting work to try to do this full time. And but they never said to not do it, to never give up, all that good stuff. And look at where we are today. We will be premiering episode 360 of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast tomorrow. So boom. They've come to see me at UFO conferences to see me speak. They've hung out with UFO researchers when I wasn't even present, which is so cool. So, yeah, love my dad, love the support he's given me throughout the years, and he has truly taught me to be the man that I am today, in all the best of ways. So, a big thank you to him, and a big thank you to all the dads out there. Um, I know that all relationships aren't as close with fathers and sons or kids and their parents as I might have with my father. So I know that I'm truly blessed and fortunate. And for all the dads out there, I know it can't be easy. I know that the world is a different place than what it probably was when you grew up. But kudos to all of you, mothers, fathers, everyone, for raising your children in a very challenging world right now. It takes special, special people to do that. So I commend you. And this is your day to celebrate dad. So a very happy Father's Day to all of you out there, including Bill, Suzanne's husband. A very happy Father's Day to him as well. All right, let me see. I'm going to put up a few things here. Forgive me, Suzanne. Bill Benedict, your parents have always been the best of the best. Truly appreciate that, brother. Bill is one of my extended family members and has always been so supportive of me as well. So good to have you here, Bill. Um, Let me see here. Just going up in the chat. Hello to Zeg. As you can tell, I'm trying to bite a little time here, guys, just in case Doug Sprague is caught in traffic or something. Um, But yeah, let's just do it. Let's get to some of the news, guys. So many puppies. Ryan is a puppy dad. Oh, you can see them. I didn't even notice. This is this is Maddie. Hi, Maddie. Oh, they're sleeping. That's Titus over here, our bulldog. Um, they're all sleeping. Titus, Tai Tai. There he is. What's up, buddy? You're on camera. Look, say hi. He's so confused. He's so confused. I love it. I love it. Layla is downstairs, I think, with Christy, my sister. She's been amazing today, doing a bunch of yard work for my dad, so he can go do his other work, I guess. But she's down there watching Layla, so maybe we'll get her on the show again. I know you guys loved her popping in recently as well. But enough of that. Let's get to the news. But one more thing, I promise. One more thing. This is the last thing before we get to the news. My favorite father and son, Mulder and the cigarette smoking man. I just had to put this up because I posted this on Twitter and people thought it was hilarious. For those of you who don't know, the cigarette smoking man is probably one of the biggest villains in television history. Just an evil, evil, evil man keeping the UFO cover up going in the UFO X Files mythos. And we found out later in the series, spoiler alert, that he is actually the biological father of the one and only Mulder, who is trying to uncover the cover up. And his own father, the Darth Vader, if you will, is the one keeping it all secret from him. So, bum, 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 best father and son relationship in television history, in my opinion. In my opinion. So again, happy Father's Day to all of you out there. Just checking the chat one more time. Hello to Paranormal Pixie. Laura, hello. It's been a while. Good to have you here as always. Um, all right. Right. Let's get to our first story, guys, of the night. And this comes to us from many news outlets, but the one I'm featuring specifically comes to us from The Hill. Aliens could be here on Earth already, says Harvard scientist. What is going on? So, researchers at Harvard University and Montana Technological University have recently published a paper in which they hypothesize that sightings of UFOs, quote, may reflect activity of intelligent beings concealed in stealth here on Earth. For example, underground and or its rear environments, such as the moon and or even walking among us, passing as humans. So the researchers said that they believe that remnant forms, which are an ancient, highly advanced human civilization, are walking among humans here on Earth. The research also shared the possible existence of a non-human underground civilization that may be descendants of unknown intelligent dinosaurs. Third, there could be hidden occupants likened to earthbound angels or fairies on Earth that have traveled to our planet. The researchers admitted that their research was likely to be regarded skeptically by most scientists, but urged the scientific community consider their claim in a quote, spirit of epistemic humility and openness. So this is so interesting, guys. You have to read the paper. Suzanne did post a link in the chat for you guys to go directly to this paper that was written by several Harvard professors and scientists and members of the Montana Technological University, which I do believe Michael Masters is a part of. If you guys are not familiar with his work, I highly suggest checking out his books on I believe they're called the extraterrestrials, which is basically this theory that aliens could being the key word, could be humans from the future, which is actually one of my biggest favorite theories on what aliens could be. We've heard theories like this when it comes to the Rendlesham Forest incident in England. Um, and you know what? I just think it's awesome. Time travel is clearly like one of the biggest things in movies, in uh, theories out there, physics and theoretical physics and all that good stuff. And I just find it so deeply compelling. While I do think some UFOs might have something to do with extraterrestrials or beings from another dimension, why not? Why couldn't it be us from the future? It makes sense to me almost if time travel is indeed at all possible. And while many scientists may say right now it's not, that's not to say that in the future they didn't figure it out. And they're coming back to warn us. How many contactees and abductees have said that they've been given messages from these beings, to stop harming the planet, to stop using nuclear weapons, not nuclear energy, but nuclear weapons, stuff like that. So, it kind of theoretically makes some sense. Again, it's just a theory. All of this is just a theory. The researchers involved in this paper even state that this is all theory, and these are just thought, you know, ways of stretching our muscles, our mind muscles. And what could UFOs represent? What could an intelligence from elsewhere be? Or have they been here all along? The crypto terrestrial theory, as it were, an advanced civilization that's been here long before us. And maybe even were there when the dinosaurs were around. It's all very fascinating. So, questions that will continue to be pondered somewhere in the skies, somewhere on the ground. And I just think it's such a cool story. Michael Huntington says, all that can be imagined is not all that can be imagined is not reality. Very true. And the opposite could be said as well, I personally think. Um, so yeah. Sorry, I'm missing all these things that Susanna is brilliantly putting up. Um, D. Mitchell says, epistemic humility is awesome. Yeah, I think it's great. Again, we have to. I love these scientists, people like Avi Loeb and other theoretical physicists and whatnot, who are willing to go there and just like ask these really out there questions. Like they are the front men. They are the grunts on the front line, sort of taking the hits because some of these questions they're asking might sound ridiculous now, but look, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years from now, they could have been right all along, right? I mean, look at Galileo, prime example. Zeg says, all facts started as theory. We got to start somewhere. Maybe in the skies. Zeg, you're hired. Love it. Love it. All right, guys, let's move to our next story. What do we got here? Oh, this is a really interesting story that came out from our colleague and one of my closest friends in the UFO world, and that's Chrissy Newton, writing over at the Debrief. And this was such an interesting article, and it really resonated with me for the obvious reason that it had to do with UFO sightings and UFO witnesses. I don't have the link handy, guys, but if you go over to the Debrief website right now, it's one of the top stories right now over there. So I highly suggest reading the entire article, but I am gonna read a good portion of it right here because I want to make sure I get this right. And man, kudos to Chrissy for knocking this one out of the park. I found this fascinating. So the title of the article is Study Finds UFO Witnesses May Have Personality Traits That Increase the Likelihood of Sightings. So let's go. Let's read some of this article. According to findings in a recent study, UFO witnesses may not be prone to misperceptions or related cognitive factors, but instead may possess specific personality traits that increase their likelihood of encountering UFO phenomena. So, clinical psychologist Dr. Daniel Stubbings from Cardiff Metropolitan University and his team found that there are numerous factors that contribute to an individual thinking they witnessed a UFO. Their study, published in the Journal of Scientific Exploration, examines the big five personality traits: extroversion, neuroticism, openness, agreeableness, and con- con- consciousness. Am I saying that right? Consciousness, along with schizopy schizopy, I guess, which is, basically the study and or the being of schizophrenia. Um, and what am I missing here? Traits, behaviors that resemble schizophrenia. Yep. And anyways, these five traits are there to help determine if UAP experiencers could be distinguished from those who would not reported seeing a UAP. I butchered the hell out of that, guys. I do apologize. This is why I said go read the whole article. Chrissy did a much more eloquent job than I am doing. Some of these words I've never even read before. That's why I failed my 101 psychology class in college. Anyways, Dr. Stubbings' experiment involved 206 participants, including 103 who said that they had witnessed or self reported seeing UAP. The team analyzed personality traits to see how participants naturally grouped together. The study consisted of three groups. Group one had average traits, whereas the second group, designated the neurotic schizoptopy group, was high on neuroticism and schizophrenia traits. The last controlled group, labeled OACE, was found to have high openness, agreeableness, consciousness, and extroversion, but low neuroticism and schizophrenia traits. The study concluded that the third group, OACE, was more likely to see UAPs. Over the years, stigma and stereotypes have helped create narratives that people who see UAPs are more than likely emotionally reactive. In other words, they may display neurotic behavior and are prone to perceptual and cognitive abnormalities. Stubbings said, quote, "We need further research to explore the nuances of these personality factors in the emergences of both belief and experience." So interesting. Dr. Stubbings also noted that only 28% of participants reported their sightings anywhere, and 14% used a UFO reporting organization, which suggests that events are vastly underreported. That reminds me so much of the Stanton Friedman thing that he would do at conferences. So he would get in front of this group, 100, 200, 300 people in the audience. First question he would ask is, how many of you have seen a UFO? And like 95% of the audience would raise their hand. And then his next question would be, how many of you reported it somewhere? And those hands came down like nobody's business. And maybe like 1 to 2% of them admitted that they had reported it somewhere. So basically, everyone has seen something they can't explain. My email inbox proves that. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's a matter of, have they reported it somewhere? Have they told anyone else about it? And a lot of the times, people like Suzanne or me, or other UFO researchers, we're the ones people turn to. And that's a start. That is definitely a big start. But when people do come to me to tell their UFO stories or give me reports or videos or photos, the first thing I do is tell them, report it to the National UFO Reporting Center, to MUFON. Like, let's get some people out there to actually investigate what you possibly have seen, because I'm a man of stories. I collect stories, I relay stories. I'm not out there like these boots on the ground MUFON field investigators, trying to figure out what it is you saw. Um, I could try to give examples and like relate it to other cases I've heard, but at the end of the day, I wasn't there. I'm also not a photo analyst. I have no right to tell anyone what they saw or didn't see in a photo or video, or what they saw with their actual eyes. So I guess that's my long-winded way of saying, like, if you are one of these people in the study who did not report what you saw, do it. Do it. Um, Reach out to me. I'll give you some avenues to do that as well. Back to the story. Um, Let me see. Stubbings also said, "Wake up, buddy." Maddie's snoring. She's a snorer. The study also, excuse me, Dr. Stubbings also said, in other words, people see UAP not because they are there, but because of the conviction of their beliefs, which are influenced by their personality dispositions. That's interesting. So basically, it's more believing is seeing than seeing is believing. I guess. Like, if you were going out there expecting to see an anomaly in the sky, anything you see in the sky might become an anomaly if you can't readily explain it. So that's interesting. I do often wonder how much our beliefs and our preconceived notions of UFOs do influence our perception of what we're seeing in that moment. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It's fascinating, and I'm glad that they're doing studies like this. Let me see. Fundamentally, Stubbing says that in addition to understanding the kinds of personality traits and psychological drivers that may contribute to a person's likelihood of observing and reporting UAP, scientists need to be engaging in dialogue about the assessment, diagnosis, formulation, and treatment of mental health distress in individuals who claim to observe UAP or even had direct contact with purported non human intelligence. Quote, Stubbings says, this topic is one of the most fascinating areas, and I believe other scientists from around the world need to help address this mystery. So cool. So cool. I agree. I think the more psychologists or members of the soft sciences who are willing to look at this topic with a very objective eye, mind you, the better. And we'll see. Jamie says that's putting it, quote, in your head, which is akin to being considered crazy, in my opinion. Interesting. Interesting. Hello to UFO intros. Love to you back, my friend. Just D Mitchell is here. Kari Photo is here. Just saying hi to everyone. If I have missed you, hello, hello, hello. Again, I get so caught up in these stories, guys. I apologize if your things are going up here and I'm not seeing them. Kari Photo says, of course there's bias, but I also think a lot of us are intelligent enough to be as objective as possible, though, even if we do have some or all of those traits. Agreed. Like, that's not to say that anyone who is a quote unquote believer is automatically going to connect what they saw in the sky to extraterrestrials, to extraterrestrials, humans from the future. Like, I deal with so many UFO witnesses on a day to day basis, and these are everyday people, like you and I, and a lot of them never, ever, ever, ever pretend to know what it is that they saw, but they want help in trying to figure that out. So yeah, yeah. Um, it is what it is. B says, I do want to throw this up here. Why is he playing ignorant of the forensic, psychological, morphological anomalies that Green, Nolan, Radin have progressed so far upon? B, I know what you're talking about. There's been a lot of work by Green, Nolan, Radin, and others in this realm. So my hope is that a study like this can be integrated into the work of Green and Nolan and stuff like that. I know you have that group UAP Med that works directly with UFO witnesses and experiencers as well. So again, the hope is that all of these people can come together, share their work, share their research, and yeah, maybe we can get closer to some answers on all of this. But I think the key here is not what the UFO is or isn't, but the experiencer, the witness. How does it affect them psychologically, emotionally, physically? Religiously, everything. And I have always found all of that deeply fascinating. I've written 3 books on it: the aftermath of a UFO sighting, the implication it has on a witness, how it changes them, and what can that eventually tell us about the phenomena. Um, as all of these witnesses eventually come together, share stories, share thoughts, theories. That's why I do what I do. So yeah, yeah. Let me see here. I'm going to go up to our starred stuff to see what Suzanne has for us. Is Chrissy, James Craig asks, is Chrissy ever coming back as a co-host? Yes. Chrissy is coming back. She's been terribly busy as of late, outside of the UFO world and inside of it actually. For those of you who don't know, Chrissy is going to be starring. She's the host of a brand new television show coming out on the Discovery Channel, I believe it is. Her and who else is in it? Mitch Horowitz. the famous occultist and researcher. It has something to do with Roswell and experiencers, and it looks really good. I can't wait to have her on to talk about the show. Hopefully, we'll get Mitch on as well. Yeah, Layla. Yeah, Layla definitely wants that to happen. So hopefully, we'll get Chrissy on again in the near future. So thank you, James. Thank you for asking. What else? Oh, look who's here. Guys, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and talk to the one and only Doug Sprague and break down our other stories with you. So stick with us and yeah, we will be right back. I hope you enjoy these commercial breaks and put your questions in the chat right now for Doug Sprague and we will get to them. All right. And I'll see you on the other side, guys. Stay tuned. Hey guys, Ryan Sprague here, host of Somewhere in the Skies, and I just wanted to let you know about an awesome event that I'm going to be partaking in on June 28th and June 29th. Small Town Monsters presents Monster Fest 2. The event takes place in downtown Canton, Ohio. Backed by popular demand, Monster Fest 2 will include Small Town Monsters panels, Q&As with guests, Small Town Monsters film premieres, meet and greets with people like me and other authors, other podcasters, and so much more. And if you have kids under the age of 12, they get in for free. So I hope you'll join me and so many others at Monster Fest 2, taking place June 28th and June 29th in Canton, Ohio. To learn more and to get your tickets, visit smalltownmonsters.com. Again, that's smalltownmonsters.com. And I'll see you at Monster Fest 2. The Somewhere in the Skies podcast is free to listen to every week, but The Somewhere in the Skies podcast is free to listen to every week, but if you would like to help support the show, we have a very active Patreon page where you give what you think the show is worth. In return, you'll get early access to the main show, bonus episodes, and priority to ask our guests your listener questions. Your support truly makes the show continue and grow. So, to learn more and to join, visit patreon.com/somewhereskies. All right, welcome back, guys, to Somewhere in the Live Stream. You're gonna look right here. All right,
right there.
Dad, welcome for the very first time to Somewhere in the Live Stream.
Thank you very much.
Talk into the mic if you can. I know it's
sorry.
difficult. There you go. There you go, guys. This is the one and only Doug Sprague. I know you've been begging for him for so long, so I finally got him on the show. Hello. What is this? We got a comment here. Hey, from Edinburgh, Ryan. Great to see you live again. Sorry, I'm late every week. No worries, Gary.
So am I.
Welcome. First question I have for you, Dad. Burning question. What do you think of what I've done to your man cave?
I guess it'll do. It'll do. I'll get my sports back later on after you go back to Scotland.
That's true. That's true. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
By the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice t-shirt.
Yeah, look at that. I support the kid all the way around.
I told you guys, he is my biggest supporter in every way. Bill Benedict says hi.
Yep. Hey,
Welcome.
Billy. How are you, bud? How's the Carolinas?
Robert says, cheers, Doug. What are you drinking?
Cheers. Drinking a little Blue Light. Labatt Blue Light here.
Labatt Blue Light. I've got another one waiting for him. Cheers, man.
I'll get to that pretty soon.
I have a question for you before we get to some of the viewers' questions, if that's cool. Everyone wants to know about my UFO sighting.
All right.
So I have to ask you, you were there to kind of see the tail end of the experience. I was the one who saw most of it, but is there anything you remember about when I saw that UFO?
I just so you called me. I was in watching the Yankees game, and I in the hotel room, and you were out on the dock, and I heard you yelling, so I came out to see what was going on, and he said you had seen something, so I looked up, and all I could see was kind of the lights going away. I didn't know what to think at that time, and I think that's where Ryan started all this, is back then. And I don't know, to this day, obviously what Ryan does, that really was intriguing to him, and made him think about, not then a career choice, but he it was just something that I did see it, the tail end of it. I didn't think much of it back then, so it's something he's bringing more to light to me now, just listening to his podcasts and his live streams. And
do you listen to the show?
Yeah, on occasion. Yeah, not all the time. When I have time, I'm busy. I do a lot of weekend stuff.
Told you.
I mean, I have my regular job, and then I also do some festivals. I run food stands and stuff like that. Yeah, got to support the kids. So
yes, that is true. It's funny. One of the food stands that my dad works at, I roped him into, actually, when I was,
it's about 25 years ago.
Yeah, I was maybe just out of middle school into high school, and I started working at the New York State Fair here in Syracuse, New York. And they needed help one year. They needed someone to run a grill because a lot of us were too young to actually do that. And I got him to come and do it one year. And then slowly but surely, I indoctrinated the entire Sprag family into working at this stand. My mom worked there at the counter, taking orders. My sister worked there taking orders. I think she served beer. Did she serve beer at one point?
For a couple of years, yeah.
Yeah. I worked in the back cooking a lot of food, and then my dad became like the upfront steak grill guy. Famous. He's been on the news here so many times. Every year at the New York State Fair, their stand gets featured for having like the biggest, most elaborate menu. And you always seem to be up front there when they're interviewing people, right?
Yep. Yeah. We've been going for a long time here. We do a lot of steak sandwiches, scallops wrapped in bacon, lobster rolls.
It's so good.
Yeah. We have a great following.
Yes, absolutely. So guys, come to the New York State Fair. When is it? August?
August like 28th or something. It goes through Labor Day every year.
Okay.
13 days it runs.
Okay, cool. Grill master, the biologist says. I love it. All right, so let me rewind. So I have this.
All right, what's Jamie say?
Jamie?
Oh no, wait, there's another one.
It's going so
Ryan,
quick.
if your family here.
Ryan, if your family can cook, why are you so skinny? That's very kind of you. You're only seeing me from right here, both of us. But yeah, I think you and I could both stand to maybe go to the gym a little bit. I don't know. We're in pretty good damn shape for our ages, I would like to say. And someone else said you look just like your dad. Yes, I get my good looks from my parents. That's for damn sure. It's the only reason I'm on TV, I think. Okay, I want to backtrack. So I had my UFO sighting. I clearly became obsessed with all this stuff.
Right.
Right. What was it like for you as my father to see your son going down this rabbit hole and getting interested in this really, really strange topic? Like, were you ever worried or concerned at first when I started doing all this?
Not worried. Not for, depending on what reasons you're thinking.
Yeah.
It's something that's, obviously now is really intriguing and out there, and just I just didn't know what it was going to be like if you chose it as a career path. You have, and you're doing very well at it. So I commend you for that. And you do your research. You do a lot of fact checking and background checking and so on and so forth. And it is something different, but it's what you love, and it's you've learned a lot. You've learned a lot doing this. So, and there's always more to learn, always. So
you could not have said that better. Like, everyone, I've been quoted on like TV and stuff as being a UFO expert, and I always tell people there's no experts.
There's no.
I don't know what the hell 99.9% of all of this is. Like,
Right.
nobody here can say that they do either.
Right.
But we find it super interesting. I mean, the question of, are we the only life? Like, how much more profound can you truly get? Have you ever thought about that? Like, when I do all this, when I talk about the Rendlesham Forest incident, the Roswell case, or like aliens have been recovered at UFO crashes and stuff like this, like, do you ever think about, what if we aren't the only life out there?
Well, I know we're not the only life out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that. It's just what is out there, who is out there.
What do they want?
Right. Yeah.
What would they do to us, I guess?
Why would they want to come to this crazy world right now?
Cheers to that.
Yeah. There you go.
We are definitely the planet that they would probably pass by, guys. Let's be completely
See ya.
honest. Yeah.
Not getting into that.
See ya. Let me see what else we have here. Before we go any further, I know you have stuff to do, so I won't keep you too much longer.
No, I want to thank my kids today for doing my yard work for me for Father's Day, and they're making me a dinner tonight, and it's great to spend time with them together.
Yes.
Getting the both of them here together, they're always here for me. They've been here for me since Mama Sprague passed, so we have a great family.
We do, and like I told you guys earlier, like, we know how blessed we are to have a family that's close. We've been through a lot. Some things I've shared publicly, some I probably never will, but so have your families. Everyone has their own lives, their own baggage, their own sorts of relationships. But today truly is a day, I think, to even if you don't do it vocally, to just appreciate every father out there. It can't be easy to raise kids, especially in today's world, like I said earlier. But to raise a ufologist, I commend you even more. That's not to take anything away from my incredible sister, who I look up to and emulate. She is she works at a veterinary clinic, and we were just talking the other day, like, how does she do it?
Right?
How can you work somewhere like that with animals who can't tell you what's wrong with them? One of our dogs had some issues this week, and we couldn't tell what was wrong with him. And that's scary. They can't tell you what's wrong with them and stuff like that. And then to have to work in a place, in an environment every day where you're dealing with sick animals, dying animals, and also helping them too.
Right.
It's just got to be such emotional whiplash. So yeah. Anything you want to add to that about your daughter?
Oh, she's one of the most important things. Well, these two are the most important things to me in this world, and I don't know what I would do without them. They keep me going every day. We talk every day. Ryan, even when he's over in Scotland, we try to talk at least once a day, one way or another. Yeah. So it's family's the most important thing in the world.
Amen to that. There was one other thing I wanted to ask you. Do you have like a UFO case that you find interesting, or that we've talked about, or like, are there any questions you have for us as UFO people? I don't know. I know I'm really putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you are
here.
putting me on the spot.
I know I am. He didn't do his. I
didn't do all my homework. I'll come on another time.
Yes.
When I'm
we'll
more
prepare
prepared.
A topic.
I just came from working out at the fairgrounds, walked in the door, and Ryan asked me to come up. So I'm sorry I am unprepared.
Don't be sorry. You're not.
This is why he's the professional at it. He prepares way ahead of time, and it's makes me proud.
Thank you.
Just watching him and listening to him. We have him down on the big 60-inch screen downstairs. Christy's down there watching it. So
bragging about the size of the TV. Such a dad. What do you think of where we are today with UFOs? Like, you see it in the mainstream news. Like, you're always sending me links to things you're reading online, news segments you're seeing on, like, not just the national, like, world news, but like local news too, and stuff like that. Like, the Pentagon is investigating UFOs.
Right.
This dude went in front of Congress and swore under oath that he knows there's UFOs that have been recovered. There's dead aliens. Like, that wasn't what it was like when I first got into this stuff.
I mean, it was, hush hush. Nobody wanted to talk about it then.
Yeah.
And now it's, one of the biggest news stories out there all the time. Seems like something every week pops up. So
That's why we do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's keeps you guys on your toes.
Yes. Keeps us talking. Yeah. Last question for you, because I know you got to go get our steaks ready. That's one thing that I'm not an expert at, and that's cooking steak. He is. That's why he does it professionally. Do you hope that we will find alien life out there? Do you hope that you can live in that time where first contact, I guess, is actually made? And if so, do you think it'll be good or bad for humanity?
I don't know if I say I hope. I feel that we will someday, sometime, and I think it'll be pretty neat. It'll be good. I mean, hell, anything will be better than what's going on in this world right now.
Save us.
I'm not a political person, but this whole world is so upside down, and it's we need something like that to maybe balance us or something. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but
yeah, no, I think you're right. Like, a lot of people say, like, could we handle it if it happened? And I look at like what we've been through in the past few years with a pandemic, and the world has been through a lot, and we've made it out on the other side, not unscathed, but we're all still here. We're adaptable as people. Like, I personally think we could handle the truth, if that's why the government is keeping it all secret. They say, like, the public couldn't handle it, it would shake up everything. And yeah, of course it would, but I think if it is real, I think it's time to tell us.
Sure, it is. Yep. They should come forward and make it be known. I mean, again, that's politics, and that's it's just the way they handle stuff around, in this world. And it's I don't know. Someday it'll happen someday. And maybe you'll be right there at the forefront of it.
I'll be on the front lines.
Yeah.
Ready to shake and eat.
I just want to say, Robert Chafee, thank you for the condolences. That's very nice of you.
Thank you, Robert.
Mama Sprague listened all the time too, and she was very, very proud of her children.
Yeah, she, again, both him and my mom have just been incredible. My sister too. She's just like always been fascinated by what I do, as am I of what she does. So, Dad, I'll let you go.
Okay.
I know you've got stuff to do, but I want to wish you a happy Father's Day again.
Thank you.
Of course.
Love you, my son.
Thank you for doing this. I know it was very last minute.
Sure.
Guys, we will have Doug Sprague back on before I leave and go back to Scotland. Maybe we'll talk about a case. Like, I'm going to give you a case to do your research.
All right, give me some Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be starting a new job in a couple weeks, so I'll be busy again.
That's true. I don't want to throw too much on your plate. You've got enough right now, but we'll see what happens. But awesome. All right. I'll let you go, my man.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. And thanks for supporting my son. And keep your eyes in the sky.
He's got it. He's got the mantra. Thank you, Dad. All right. I'll be down in a little bit. All right. How awesome was that, guys? He's such an eloquent man. He doesn't give himself enough credit. I love his perspective on things. I'm going to go over the chat because I feel like I missed some of the stuff you guys were saying. So I apologize. Suzanne's doing such a good job. Let me see. Oh, I love what Charles said here. It's a mystery wrapped in an enigma. How could anyone resist? I could not agree more, Charles. This is why we do this. While some people want the answers, I love living in the mystery. It makes life worth living, in my personal opinion. All right. Let me see here. All right. Well, let's get back to the news, because I do have a couple other stories for you guys. These ones are much more brief than the wonderful article by Chrissy Newton, I promise you. But let's get to some of those here. What's next? Okay. So this one is really interesting, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this one. Pull it up here. So, Pentagon official reveals encounter with UFO, which emitted enough energy to power a small city. So, a U.S. Department of Defense contractor's encounter with a giant glowing UFO has sparked 10 years of research and 2 patents inspired by his encounter. 3 witnesses, including that Pentagon engineer, report that they captured electronic evidence of a quote barbell like UFO, half the length of a football field, that glowed an eerie indigo blue. This took place on August 28th, 2013, near where the trio had camped for a hunting trip. The case was brought to MUFON investigators Phil Leach and Robert Powell. They conducted an anonymous interview with the Pentagon Department of Defense official. And I actually have a brief clip from that MUFON interview that I want to share with you guys, where he kind of goes into detail about what he saw. But this case is really only developing, the investigative work being done by Powell and Leach as well. But let's go ahead and watch a brief clip here about this case. And I will be having Robert Powell on Somewhere in the Skies in the future to discuss the case at length and get more details about it, and talk about Powell's newest book as well. He has a book that has come out recently too. So go ahead and give this clip a watch, and we'll learn more about the barbell UFO witnessed by a former Pentagon official.
We were roughly 4.5 or 5 miles from the main road when I noted something over my shoulder. I was actually sitting in the back of the vehicle. This was a late model 2013 Ford pickup. It was one of the crew cab style with a seat in the back, and I was sitting in the back. The witness 2 was driving. Witness 3 was in the passenger side front seat. I noted some lights flashing. The very first indication that I saw that was almost a flashing glare in the right-hand side rear window of the vehicle. I caught it in my peripheral vision, so it was actually just over my right-hand shoulder. I quick spun around because I thought that was unusual, because we were out in the middle of nowhere. Literally, it was wilderness, and so my immediate first thoughts were, this is really late for a helicopter to be out in the middle of nowhere. And I first thought that possibly it was a helicopter. It was a relatively low altitude. From the first time that I saw it until it disappeared, that total time period was about 6.5 or 7 minutes total time frame. The amount of time that from the first indication that I saw it until it was directly in front of us was about a minute, maybe a minute and 20 seconds. And in that same amount of time, I was immediately jumping for my cameras, my phone. I had a Motorola Droid with me, a cell phone, and I also had a relatively late model Sony HD camera. And I grabbed my phone first because I knew I could get that to boot up and take video relatively quick. I grabbed it. Whenever I pulled it out and looked at it, it was going through a boot sequence just as if it was just first turned on and trying to reboot. I knew that would be at least 35 to 40 seconds prior to it being able to actually be at the home screen. So I dropped that on the seat of the vehicle, and I grabbed my Sony camera, started to try to get that to boot. I attempted to boot it 2 or 3 times and could not get that camera to boot with this craft in front of us. By this time the craft was probably at my 1 o'clock position, so it was about looking straight over witness 3's left shoulder. So it was about me looking from the center of the vehicle in the back seat straight to the right-hand front pillar, windshield pillar. And the vehicle was at a low enough altitude that we could actually see it through you could see it through the windshield. You did not have to be crouched down or anything. It was relatively low.
Well, there you go, guys. The interview with this witness is almost 45 minutes long, and we just watched a 3-minute clip. So I will, in retrospect, post a link to the full length interview for you guys. But like I said, we will have Robert Powell on the show to talk about this case and if there's any updates on who these witnesses are. I did see Michael Huntington saying anonymous witness. And Michael, I agree with you, brother. It's so frustrating when we get these anonymous people. He says, not transparent. Witnesses should be reviewable. Hidden evidence is a barrier to provenance and investigation. Possible IC manipulation. We cannot count that out. That's a really good point, Michael. Now, I know Robert Powell has done his research and background on this witness. He's vetted him. He is who he says he is, but who is he? That is the real question. So while, a part of me does understand why a witness like this would remain anonymous, I had a deal with every witness in my books. If you were not willing to come forward with your real name, first and last name, I didn't want you in the book. And I lost a lot of people because of that. But I told them straight up, like, we need to further this topic in terms of credibility. And the only way to do that is for you to come forward, is for you to risk, not your reputation, but like, we need to know who you are. And we need to know that you're a real person who had this experience, because that could in turn help more witnesses come forward and empower more people to come forward. Thus, more witnesses come forward on that case that we only have one witness for at the moment. And then we can hopefully find more answers with more witnesses involved. So yeah, I did lose a lot of people for my books, but I gained a lot too. And I commend every single one of them who was willing to come forward with their real names, the location where they saw these things, the dates, the times, all of it. To be so upfront and honest, it can only help normalize this topic and these cases. So I do hope that this witness will be willing to step out of the shadows and tell us more. But it is a pretty descriptive and lengthy interview. That is, again, if you do believe any of this. It is just a story. Apparently, there is video evidence. There's electromagnetic evidence that was captured that Powell has looked at as well. But again, we will learn a lot more about this case when we have Robert Powell on the show. And send me questions that you want me to ask of him and this witness. I would love that as well. Hi, Layla. Hi. Come here. Come on. Come on. Yay, Layla's here. Let me see if I can get her on camera. There she is. Say hi. Say hi. Look. There you go. Say hi to everybody. All right, guys. Well, let's move to we got two more stories for you, and I promise these will be brief. The next one I am going to share with you is about Dyson Spheres. Don't know what they are? Don't worry. I have no idea either. I'm just learning about them. So let's talk about Dyson Spheres and what has just been discovered. A new study, this comes from NBC News, by the way, guys. A new study finds potential alien megastructure known as Dyson Spheres. Whew, this is interesting. So, I'm going to give a little background on what Dyson Spheres are, and then we're going to watch a very interesting clip from NBC News. So the ultimate solution to the energy problems of an advanced civilization, according to British-American physicist Freeman Dyson, theorized it would be a shell made up of mirrors or solar panels that completely surrounds a star, harnessing all the energy it produces. Dyson also theorized that within a few thousand years of its entering the stage of industrial development, any intelligent species should be found occupying an artificial biosphere, which completely surrounds its parent star. He also noted that Dyson spheres would give off waste heat detectable as infrared radiation, and suggested that looking for that byproduct would be a viable method of searching for extraterrestrial life. And apparently, scientists have recently revealed that there's a possibility they may have or may in the future find these sorts of spheres. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip from NBC News where they interview an astrophysicist about this and the possibilities of Dyson spheres, and if this new discovery could lead down this path. So give this a watch.
A group of researchers say they've identified at least 7 stars that might be surrounded by super advanced alien megastructures known as Dyson spheres. Yes, I said alien structures, and I know what you're thinking, but just stay with me here. So in this new study, researchers say they found 7 sources glowing in the infrared. Those are their words, but couldn't find an obvious explanation for why these sources are glowing so much, which could mean they're Dyson spheres or something else entirely. And what I'm saying is, what? Space is so crazy. I wish I understood it better. So let's talk to a scientist to help wrap our heads around this. I'm joined now by Professor Jana Levin. She is an astrophysicist and author of the book Black Hole Survival Guide, as well as the Claire Tow Professor of Physics and Astronomy at Barnard College of Columbia University. What do you make of this study? Just generally speaking, I guess. Do you think it's possible that these are the elusive Dyson spheres?
So I think it's very unlikely, but I'm open. We have to be open as scientists. If we think we know the answer before we go and observe, then we're already defeated. I think it's terribly unlikely, but it's extremely exciting and interesting to think about. And it's fun to think about. What's probably going to happen is we're going to look at this infrared signature that you mentioned, and we're going to find out that there's a natural cause. So a lot of things emit heat in the infrared. You know, infrared goggles allow us to see human bodies and the heat of human bodies. And it's not that dissimilar that when we look in the infrared, we see things emitting heat. So the idea was if we had this very technologically advanced civilization, like thousands of years beyond where we are right now, and they could build such a thing and it was collecting all this energy, it would collect also some heat and would have to cool off, and we would see that in the infrared. But there are other natural possibilities that could explain.
What do you think those possibly could be?
Well, it could be a very young star that still has some material around it in kind of a disk, and that's how planets form. Planets coalesce out of these early disks, and those can emit in the infrared. It could be that there's actually an entire galaxy in the distance behind the star, and we're seeing that galaxy, and we can't disambiguate those. Or it could be planetary collisions. I mean, there are natural explanations. But I think it's worth noting, we're looking just 1,000 light years around us. That sounds far, but it's actually really close. That's our backyard. The entire Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across. And there are probably more planets in the Milky Way galaxy than there are stars. So we're talking of hundreds of billions and maybe trillions of planets out there. And I think we're in an era where we think the emergence of life is possibly inevitable elsewhere, that we're not the only example. Now, whether or not they've survived with thousands of years of industrial advancement to build a Dyson sphere is a different story.
So interesting. You're getting a sneak peek, if you're watching this, of our next story. But can we have more of her and less of Neil deGrasse Tyson, please? I'm just saying. I love how she kind of broke this down, and the harsh reality of, is this actually what this new study is saying, or what is the possibility that Dyson spheres exist? I love the concept of techno-signatures. You know, the work of like the Galileo project and what they're looking for, and this idea of like some advanced civilization using technology that leaves imprints. Look at our planet. Look at, if you actually, like, we see these beautiful photos of the planet Earth all the time, right, from space, and it's just a perfect globe, nothing around it, and it's just floating there, and it's gorgeous. But then if you look at the actual photos of the planet from space and you see how much space junk and how many satellites are around it, it's disgusting, to be completely honest. And yeah, if we can find techno signatures on any other planet, then that could be a sign of life. Not just life, not like biosignatures, but like an advanced civilization, either having lived there or currently living there. So I do find that deeply fascinating. The other thing that was really exciting in this interview was that she mentions how many planets alone could be in the Milky Way galaxy that we could potentially look for life on. even look for theoretical Dyson spheres. And that gives me hope, statistically. Like even my dad mentioned earlier, like there's so many planets out there, space is endless. Like there's got to be other life out there somewhere, somehow. So yeah, that gives me hope. If it's not Dyson spheres, it's something. Something's going on. So I'm going to wrap up this story with scientists all agree that more research is needed on the data of this study, and that ultimately they could turn to NASA's James Webb Telescope for more information, as it is powerful enough to observe the candidate stars directly. However, because of the lengthy competitive procedures that regulate use of the telescope, securing access might take some time. Take all the time you need to make the biggest discovery in human, quote unquote, human history. I'm willing to wait, even if it's not in my lifetime. But I hope it is. I really do. So yeah, cool story. Kudos again to NBC for going there. This was an awesome interview. And yeah. Here's hoping. Here's hoping. Let's get to our last story of the night, guys. And then I'm going to go through the chat one last time, look at our starred stuff. And yeah, we will close things out with a really cool little ditty about Jack and Diane. No, a little ditty that a good friend of ours has come up with that I'm going to close the show out with. So stay tuned for that. Who is this guy? Well, if you know American football, you probably know who this is. This is Max Crosby. He plays for the LA Raiders in the NFL. And a story recently came out that NFL star Max Crosby claims he saw a UFO during an LA Raiders flight back to Las Vegas. Are the Raiders not in LA anymore? Or what's going on here? The Las Vegas Raiders. Wow, guys, shows you how much I pay attention to football nowadays. My football now is actual football. So I'm going to use that as my defense. Not my ignorance of professional sports by any means. Anyways, so in a recent interview with Jim Rom, Las Vegas Raider star Max Crosby claimed that he saw a UFO while flying back from a game against the Miami Dolphins. And I actually have the clip from the Jim Rom show that I'm going to show you guys of Max Crosby talking about this. Anytime a celebrity or an athlete comes forward with a UFO story, everyone seems to really pay attention. So I thought it was definitely worth bringing up. So let's give this clip a look here. Do I have it? Oh, yes, I do. Okay, give this a watch.
Is there any doubt in your mind that there are UFOs and aliens amongst us?
Oh, there definitely is. That's not even a question. I don't want anybody to come after me, but that's public information. But Andre James, one of my teammates, our center on the team, he's all into UFOs and all type of different conspiracy theories. And so me and him have that bond, in the locker room, we sit there and talk about different conspiracy theories. So when he got on the podcast, all of a sudden, the final 30 minutes, we just start going into a, rabbit hole about different things, but it's real. Like we were literally on a flight back from Miami and we've seen a UFO with our own eyes. And that sounds crazy, but you can ask the pilots, anybody that was there. It was wild. And I seen it and they had no idea what it was. There was nothing on the radar, nothing. And it was like a big shining light going in and out.
Okay. So we need to figure out which flight it was. We need to talk to the pilots. And we need to learn more about the craft. I think it's awesome. I think it's so cool that he was willing to come forward and talk about it. We need to get Andre James on the show, clearly, since he said he's really, really into UFOs. So get on that chat. Tag him on Twitter with Somewhere in the Skies. I don't care what we got to do. Let's get Andre James on the show. I would absolutely love to talk to him. Speaking of which, we're going to have some interesting guests coming on Somewhere in the Skies recently. Some people who are really into UFOs that a lot of people may not know that they are. Yeah, I will leave it at that. Someone reached out to me recently on social media that completely surprised me and shocked me. That is really into UFOs, and we've been talking back and forth for a couple days now. So here's hoping we can get them to come on and talk about their own personal UFO experiences. You know who you are. If you're watching this, we would love to have you. That's all. I'll leave it at that. You and Andre James. Maybe we could have a little UFO rap session with the two of you. So this is pretty cool. This actually reminded me the Max Crosby story about do you guys remember when who was it? That other guy who had a UFO sighting recently. Aaron Rodgers had a UFO sighting too, and he actually talked about it not on like a podcast, but on an actual like HBO special that he was on for football. But they asked him about UFOs. I have the clip right here. It's very brief. Hopefully we don't get a copyright strike from HBO, but I'm going to play that for you. This is Aaron Rodgers talking about his UFO sighting.
We heard this sound and we saw this tremendously large object moving through the sky, and it was like a scene out of Independence Day, whatever the hell it was, I don't know, but it was definitely unidentified, it was definitely flying, it was definitely a large object.
Very brief, but pretty cool. This also, like, how many athletes, celebrities, people who travel at a constant rate, pilots, obviously, see these things, and we just don't know about them. J. Allen Heineken says he was asked about his favorite conspiracy theory. Okay, then it's UFOs. There you go. There you go. But yeah, how many of these players have probably seen things in the sky on all of their plane commutes or bus commutes even? Like statistically, I remember Cheryl Costa was on the show early in the run of Somewhere in the Skies, where she said like the people who mostly see UFOs are like truck drivers because they're on the road at night constantly. People who are in very low population areas with very clear skies see UFOs a lot. I'm sure Suzanne can see a lot more stuff than I ever can in a very light polluted city. Edinburgh being one, New York City being another. Yeah, so like the odds are probably with these types of people, athletes and people who travel a lot, in seeing UFOs. So yeah, I thought this is pretty cool, fun story to sort of end things with. So right now, guys, before we close things out, I do want to go into the chat and see what you're saying and go to our start stuff as well. Again, I want to give a special thanks to James Craig for the super chat and Jamie Tree Talker for the super chat as well. Oh, I missed her question. I'm so sorry. Papa Sprag, so good to meet you. Do you have any sightings of your own to share? Jamie, I don't believe he has, minus, the brief moment that he saw what I saw back in 1995. But I will ask him again. I will definitely do my due diligence and see if he's had any sort of unexplained experiences other than UFOs too. I'm not exactly sure. I promise I will ask him that. Space Today said, great to finally catch a live show. Usually watch broadcast later. Thank you, Space Today. We're so glad to have you live. But, this will live in perpetuity on YouTube, and it comes out in audio form as a podcast every Wednesday. So what you're watching right now will be available in audio format this upcoming Wednesday. So be sure to subscribe to the Somewhere in the Skies podcast if you just want to hear the audio version. If you're listening to the audio version right now in the future, at least for us here live, you can head on over to YouTube and watch the video version. We have clips that we show and stuff like that, and you get to see the one and only Papa Sprague in the flesh, kind of, sort of. Duncan says the Kardashev scale upon which the idea of the Dyson spheres are based is ridiculous. The more advanced a civilization becomes, the less energy it will require. I've heard of the scale, and I don't know. I can't wrap my head around that. That the more advanced it becomes, the less energy it will require. I guess it would really depend on like what kind of energy you're harnessing or condensing. I don't know. Again, I'm completely speaking out of turn. I have no right to really be talking about this, but that's my own sort of pedestrian opinion on it. I do think a more highly advanced civilization would find a way to use less energy. You would hope so, at least, but I could be completely wrong on that. I really, really could. Okay. Just going through the chat one more time, guys. Right. I don't want to leave you guys hanging too long. Looks like we got everything. Suzanne did a great job. The speciest says, your father's legend. He came to support you, his son, on Father's Day. Also, thank you. He really is. He is legend. I can't deny that. If I can grow up to be half the man he has, then I feel like I've left my imprint on this world, as he surely has on me and so many others as well. So thank you for saying that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Suzanne, says Duncan. She has been doing an incredible job. I 100% agree with that. Too good. Sometimes I started the freaking show on mute again. I saw her waving. She's on top of it. I love it. All right, guys. So, little tease for you coming up Monday, which is tomorrow at midnight EST, a brand new episode of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast. We are exploring the Foss family UFO encounters out of South Dakota. Such an interesting set of cases that happened to this family out on their farm. And I highly suggest you give that a listen. That'll be available, like I said, at midnight EST for all of you here. And it'll be available in the very wee hours of the morning over there in Europe as well. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed and all that good stuff, and you'll be the first to hear that episode. I think I put it out on Patreon early. I hope I did, because that's what you're paying for. Speaking of which, if you're not a member of our Patreon, please consider joining. Suzanne she's on top of it. Put the link right below for you guys, patreon.com/somewhere skies. And you get bonus episodes of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast. You get early access to all episodes as well, including these live streams. And you get to be the first to ask our guests listener questions. I always let you know in advance over on Patreon who our guests will be, so that you can be the first to ask them questions. And we have some awesome guests coming up. So head on over to Patreon to learn more and to get those benefits and help support us that way. But if you can't support us that way, there is a barcode right on this live stream that you can scan and help us through PayPal as well. The handle for our PayPal is in the show notes too, so you can always just go there. That's a quick, easy way to help us as well. There are so many unforeseen costs with all of this stuff, guys. It's all free for you guys, but it's definitely not free for me to create. So any help you're willing to give us is greatly appreciated, and every penny goes back into these shows. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Last but not least, if you can't help us financially, I completely understand that. Never expect it, but always appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, turn on notifications right here on YouTube, or subscribe, rate, and review the Somewhere in the Skies podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get the show. That is all I can ever ask of you guys. And, all podcasts ask you guys to rate and review. And I know it probably gets annoying hearing it week after week after week, but I can't tell you how much it actually helps us. It gets us featured on mainstream things like Spotify, Apple. It moves us up in the rankings so that the show is actually visible to more people, and that only happens if you click like, if you click subscribe, if you leave a rating and review on some of these bigger platforms like Spotify and Apple. I know that may not be where you listen to the show, but if you could just head over to those big ones and leave a rating and review, it would be so appreciated. Email us as well, your questions, your comments, your feedback on the show, or if you've had a UFO sighting yourself. We do a very special series called Witness Accounts. We just had an episode a few weeks ago where you tell your UFO story. So if you would like to discuss that further with me, you can email us at ryan.sprag51@gmail.com, as you see there on the screen. It's in the show notes as well. And yeah, I think that's all I got for you guys. We have to go have our Father's Day cookout bash with Doug Sprague, Christy Sprague, and our wonderful family that actually lives right next door to us as well. So we're going to go do that. But I'm going to leave you guys with something super cool. So if you do not follow John Greenwald Jr. of the Black Vault on Twitter, I highly suggest going over there and doing that. He created a song about his favorite UFO case and my favorite UFO case, and that is the 1976 Tehran UFO incident. We did a very, very in-depth episode on the Tehran UFO incident in Somewhere in the Skies archives, so I highly suggest going back. It's our most popular episode to date, the most downloaded episode. So head on over into the archives of Somewhere in the Skies podcast to check out that episode. But what I'm going to leave you guys with now is a song that John Greenwald created called Tehran Lights in a new series that he's created called Ufology in Music. So that's going to close out the show. I hope you guys enjoyed the song. I hope you enjoyed the episode, the live stream tonight with our special guest, Doug Sprague. We will have him back on in the future. That's for darn sure. And I just want to thank you guys, all you fathers out there hanging out with me on your Father's Day, and all of you for watching, listening, supporting what I do here at Somewhere in the Skies and Somewhere in the live stream. And I hope you enjoyed our news stories this week. And I hope you enjoyed our chat with Doug Sprague. Special thanks to Suzanne, as always, and all of you, our regulars, our super chatters, our super stickers. It is highly, highly appreciated. Dinner time, says Douglas Sprague. I know. I'm coming. We're closing things up. But I'm just going to check the start stuff here one more time. Enjoy the food, says Charles. Thank you. Keep going, guys and gals. We support all of you do. Let's give them a bump. Thank you, Species. Appreciate that. I listen on Spotify. Pat says, I will leave a review if I haven't already. Thank you. All right, guys, here is Tehran Lights by John Greenwald Jr. If you haven't already, go subscribe to his YouTube channel, to the Black Vault, and him personally on Twitter as well. So I will see you guys here next week. And remember, keep your feet on the ground, but never stop searching somewhere in the skies. Happy Father's Day, and keep looking up. And here's Tehran Lights.
It was late one night in 76. The skies of Tehran held a cryptic fix. Citizens called, they saw the light, a burst star in the dead of night. The tower said it's just the stars, but curiosity took them far, and that force scrambled into the sky to see the brilliance lining high. Tehran lights flashing bright, blue, green, red in the night. Mysteries in the skies untold, the Tehran incident unfolds. The jet approached but lost its way. The instruments failed, communication was straight. Turned back to base, regained control. Another F4 took on the road. Radar